Today we're going to guide you through the steps of a basic OpenY installation. This tutorial assumes you are not a developer and is a step-by-step process for technical novices. Today, we will go through a brief overview on what OpenY is, why there are costs associated with using it and what those costs cover if you follow this path, an overview of the risks associated with a self-hosted installation of OpenY, as this is not the recommended approach for setting up the website for your association. Finally, we will do a walkthrough of the self-installation. You should set aside at least an hour for this entire walkthrough. OpenY is the code that can power a website. The code has been built from within the Y movement for the unique needs of Y associations. The OpenY code itself is open source. This means that it is free to download the code, and once you download it, you own that code. You own what you downloaded. You can manipulate the code however you want. As an analogy, imagine that you have been given a free house. Even if the house is free, you still have to put it somewhere. Same with the OpenY code. You have to host the code somewhere so that people can visit your website. Your web hosting costs represent the land that your house is on. None of these web hosting fees go to the OpenY team, nor do they fund the code. Because you own the house now, you can change it however you want. This can be as simple as painting a wall, to more complex like adding a second floor. The tutorial today will only cover putting your house on some land so that people can visit it. If you want to get more complex with massive renovations, we suggest you work with an expert. Finally, all houses require maintenance, from cleaning to repairs. Every few decades, your house might need a new roof, for example. OpenY code is no different. It must be closely monitored and maintained in order to keep it secure. Once you download the OpenY code and host your OpenY website, you are responsible for all of the maintenance of your site. All systems and software that connect to the internet must be periodically updated to stay secure, just like your phone receives regular updates to the operating system. First, follow security best practices, such as complex passwords and two-factor authentication. You will need to periodically update all of the software on your web host, including your version of OpenY. You should back up your site regularly so you can restore your site in case anything breaks. The OpenY team is not liable for any issues you may encounter with self-hosting or following this tutorial. If you need any additional help, the OpenY community is ready to help answer questions and help you get unstuck. From our real-time Slack chat to our message boards, here are the various ways you can contact us. Links for these community access points are in the video description below. Again, the OpenY code is free to download. However, you need to host it somewhere so that people can visit your site. Next, we'll cover the hosting costs you can expect when you are doing this yourself. Using Digitalocean as a potential hosting provider in this tutorial, the costs for the recommended install should be around $24 per month. The monthly cost breakdown is $20 a month for the hosting and $4 a month for the recommended backups. Digitalocean is a private company with no affiliation to OpenY, therefore we have no idea if they might raise their fees at some point in the future. Alright, let's get down to work on the tutorial. We will walk through the process using both a Windows PC and a Macintosh. First, for those of you on Windows, we need to download some free software to help us install our OpenY website on DigitalOcean. This software is called PuTTY. To download, go to putty.org. Click on You can download PuTTY here, then under Alternative Binary Files, where it says putty.exe, 32-bit, click on the link that says putty.exe. Once PuTTY has completed downloading, open it up and make sure that it says PuTTY configuration across the top. We're going to set this to the side and come back to it a little bit later. For those of you using a Mac, you can use an application called Terminal. To open up Terminal, hit the Command key and spacebar on your keyboard to open up the Spotlight search. Once the Spotlight search is open, start typing the word Terminal, and then click on Terminal where it says Top Hit. Again, just like PuTTY, set that to the side for now. Next, we want to go to DigitalOcean.com. This will be the company that we will use to host our OpenY website. If you don't yet have an account on DigitalOcean, then on the homepage enter your first name, an email address, and now we need to create a secure password. We recommend using a password generator service like passwordgenerator.com. you can click on Regenerate Passwords, and this will create a custom password that is random and just for you. We recommend using the diamond level password. To copy this, highlight the text, right-click on Copy, go back to Digitalocean, and hit Paste, and then click on Sign Up with Email. You should receive an email from Digitalocean with further instructions on how to set up your account, including how to add payment information. After you've copied your password, we recommend opening up a text file and saving your password with a label, Digitalocean Account. Please make sure that you store this text file in a very safe and secure location so that nobody else can access your Digitalocean account. Again, by turning on two-factor authentication, you can ensure that only you have access to your Digitalocean account. Once you're fully logged in to Digitalocean, we want to go to the top right corner and click on the green button that says Create, and then Droplet. Now, on the left where it says Ubuntu 20.04 LTS x64, it is very important to click on the drop-down and select 16.04 LTS x64. Ubuntu is an operating system similar to Windows or Macintosh, but typically used for computers that host software like websites. OpenY is currently only compatible with Ubuntu 16.04 as of Q3 2020. We are working towards compatibility with Ubuntu 18 and 20 in the future. Again, make sure that 16.04 LTS x64 is selected. Next, scroll a bit down the page, and under where it says Choose a Plan, select the $20 a month, 4GB 2 CPU, 80GB SSD disk, 4TB transfer option. This option should have enough bandwidth and power for any small to mid OpenY Y Association website. Next, scroll down the page, and where it says Choose a data center region, we want to select a region that's geographically closest to us. Because I'm located in the middle of the Midwest, I can choose either New York or San Francisco. In this instance, I'll simply select New York. Next, scroll further down the page, and where it says Authentication, click on Password. We need to create a new password that will be used for our OpenY server. This is a different password than our Digitalocean account. Go back to the password generator and click on Regenerate Passwords to come up with a new password for our Digitalocean droplet. Highlight the diamond password, right-click to copy, go back to Digitalocean, and where it says Create Root Password, type your password, right-click, hit Paste, and make sure that 4 green check marks appear, as that will indicate that your password has met Digitalocean's requirements for your root password of your server. If for any reason any of these check marks are not checked, make sure to read what the requirements are and go back to the password generator and regenerate your password until you find a diamond level password that meets Digitalocean's requirements. Again, go back to your text file, paste your password in, give this one a label such as OpenY root server password. Now, go back to Digitalocean and scroll down the page. Where it says Choose a host name, select the text that starts with Ubuntu and type OpenY with no spaces or special characters. Finally, scroll to the bottom of the page, and under Add Backups, we strongly encourage you to select the Enable Backups option. This will create a regular backup once a week of your OpenY site at the server level. This way, in case you make any changes and you want to roll back to a prior version of your OpenY site, it's very easy to do so. Finally, click on Create Droplet. Digitalocean will now take a few moments to create your droplet for you. Once your droplet has been created, next to where it says OpenY, a little bit to the right, you'll see a series of numbers. These numbers are the IP address of your droplet. The IP address is what allows you to connect to your droplet from anywhere on the internet. If you hover over with your mouse on this IP address, you will see a little word that says Copy. Click on that and it will copy your IP address. Next, we want to go back to PuTTY if we're using that on Windows. In just a moment, I'll show you the steps for terminal on a Macintosh. Now, under where it says hostname or IP address, right-click and hit Paste. Then, click on Open, and you'll get a notification saying the server's host key is not cached in the registry if this is the first time that you've accessed your OpenY server from this computer. Go ahead and click on Yes. Now it says log in as and type ROOT and then hit enter. Next, we need to paste in the password for this droplet. If we go back to our text file and select our OpenY root server password, copy, and go back to PuTTY, there's a special trick to paste within PuTTY. You cannot hit Ctrl-V or use any shortcut to paste. What you must do is single right-click on the mouse, and it will paste your password in. You will not see any change on the screen in PuTTY, but if you hit enter, you should see some text that illustrates that you have logged in. If you see it say root at OpenY, this means that you have logged in accurately. Now I'll go through the steps on how to use the terminal application on a Macintosh. On a Mac, once you have terminal open, you want to type SSH and then a space, and then ROOT, and then an @ symbol, and then your IP address. Then hit enter. Next, you'll be prompted to enter your password into the terminal application on Mac. You might have to manually type your password in. From here, all of the steps are the same between using a Mac or Windows, PuTTY or terminal. I will go back to using PuTTY for the rest of this demonstration. Now that we've logged into our server droplet for our OpenY site on DigitalOcean, we need to use the OpenY install script to install OpenY onto our droplet. The link to the install script can be found in the description under this video. Once you open the install script, you'll notice that it's only one line of text. It starts with the word curl and ends with --s. Highlight all of this text from curl to -s, right-click, select copy, and go back to either PuTTY or terminal. Now remember, to paste in PuTTY, it's just a single right-click. Now hit enter. This process is copying all of the files that make OpenY onto your DigitalOcean droplet. This process can take anywhere from 15 to 20 minutes. We will time-lapse this portion of the video. Once the script is completed, PuTTY or terminal will say root at OpenY at the bottom of the screen. Just above that, it will say open http:// your IP address /core/install.php. Copy this text, and in PuTTY, once that text is selected, you can hit Ctrl-C on your keyboard to copy it, go into your web browser, and with a new tab, paste that URL. This will now take you through the configuration of your OpenY site that has been copied to your DigitalOcean server droplet. The first step is to accept the terms and conditions that permit you to use the OpenY codebase. All that these terms and conditions do is to acknowledge that the OpenY LLC is a separate entity from the YMCA Greater Twin Cities, and that you are responsible for implementing your own cybersecurity best practices and policies, as well as acknowledging that OpenY is open source and is provided as is without any warranties of any kind. There are some optional permissions, such as agreeing to share non-sensitive analytics information that allows the OpenY team to better understand how OpenY is being used, so we can do a better job of making enhancements and improvements to OpenY in the future. Once you've accepted the terms and conditions, then hit Accept Terms and Conditions at the bottom of the page. Next, where it says Choose Language, click Save and Continue. Now, OpenY is configuring all of the different modules and components that it uses to render your web pages. This process can take anywhere from 5 to 20 minutes, so we will time-lapse this portion of the video. Now we need to go through a few more steps of configuring our site. Under Site Name, enter the name of your YMCA association, such as YMCA of the North. Next, enter your site email address. We recommend something like do not reply at yourassociationurl.org. Next, you need to create an account to log into your site with. We recommend your first name dot last name. Now, we need to create another password. This password is different from the server password or the password you use for your DigitalOcean account. So again, we recommend going back to the password generator, generating a new password, copying the diamond level password, going to your text file, pasting your password in, and leaving a note such as admin access for OpenY website. Now go back to the tab with your OpenY site and right-click where it says password, hit paste, and then where it says confirm password, right-click and hit paste one more time. Next, under email address, At the very bottom, we recommend changing this to your email address, such as craig.polnock@ymcamen.org. Under Regional Settings for default country, if you're in the United States, change this to the United States, and then set the default time zone for where your association is geographically located. Next, under Update Notifications, these are notifications related to Drupal.org, the makers of the Drupal software of which OpenY is built on top of. You can either leave these checked or uncheck them at your discretion. Next, hit Save and Continue. Next, you can choose which search engine platform you wish to use for the internal search engine of your OpenY website. For now, let's leave it as none, just so we can continue. You can always come back and revisit that decision in the admin console later in your OpenY site. Next, we need to select our installation type. There are two primary types of OpenY sites that you can install, standard and extended. We recommend the standard installation as it has about 80% of all of the functionality and capability of OpenY built in. Some of the other functionality might be integrations such as CRMs that you don't use. This is why we recommend the standard installation. The extended installation should only be used by much larger associations or third-party agencies doing custom development. If there's any feature or functionality that you wish to use in OpenY that's in one of the versions that you didn't select here, they can be easily added in the admin console of your OpenY website after installation with a simple button click. Next, scroll down the page and click Continue. OpenY is now doing some final steps of configuration based on the selections we had made on the previous steps. Again, this process can take a few minutes, so we will time-lapse this portion of the video. Now we have to select one of the three primary themes that OpenY comes pre-configured and installed with. This is what defines what your OpenY website will look like. You can choose from Rose, Lily, or Carnation. Carnation typically is the most popular OpenY theme as of Q3 2020. So let's go ahead and leave OpenY Carnation selected and click Continue. Next, we are prompted and asked if we would like to install demo content. We strongly encourage you to leave this option selected, as it will help you to see how OpenY sites can be configured, as your site will come with demo content pre-installed. A website without any content would be just a plain blank page, so this will really help you get started building out your OpenY website. Leaving the Yes button checked, let's hit Continue. Our OpenY site is now installing and configuring our demo content. Again, this will take a few minutes and we will time-lapse this portion of the video. The next step is just instructions on how to install the Cachet font after you've completed your installation of OpenY. To use Cachet requires a licensing fee completely separate from OpenY. Therefore, OpenY comes with Verdana as a free font installed, which is approved by the brand guidelines by YUSA. These instructions will help you to purchase and install Cachet on your own time. Now, hit OK. This is the final step of our OpenY installation. It's showing us one more time what our terms and conditions are that we have agreed upon, and we can update our optional permissions if we would like to share information with the OpenY team about how we're using our site. Again, this information is completely anonymous and helps the OpenY team to better define the roadmap, features, and updates that we make in the future. Now, click on Home at the top of the page. This will take you to the home page of your OpenY website with the default content installed. At this point, there's just a few more steps we need to take to make sure that our OpenY site is fully secured. We need to go back to PuTTY or Terminal to make these changes at the server level on our OpenY site. The first is to change some of the permissions on the directories that our OpenY site has been installed within. We can copy this text that says chmod and ends with the word default. If we go back to PuTTY, paste the text in, and hit enter, we won't see any result from hitting enter, it'll just go to the next line, but the changes have been made. Next, we want to select the next security change, which is chmod 644, and again ends in settings.php, copy this text, go back over to PuTTY, paste it in, and hit enter. The same steps can be followed if you're using Terminal on a Mac. At this point, your OpenY site is complete. Now that you have your OpenY site, there are a few spots where you can go for user tutorials on how to edit, alter, and update your site with content of your very own. We recommend going to our message board at community.openymca.org and checking out some of the user documentation. We also have a YouTube channel with other tutorials at youtube.com/OpenY. You can also visit our website at openY.org. Thank you very much.